the United States has recently introduced new heavy taxes on goods coming from other countries. These are called tariffs. For Japan, this is a serious problem. In February 2025, tariffs on steel and aluminum jumped to 25%, then to a staggering 50% just this past week, the first week of June. Then, in March 2025, cars and auto parts from Japan faced a new 25% tariff. More tariffs, termed reciprocal tariffs, were announced in April. These could add a base 10% tax on all imports, plus more duties for specific countries. These were paused for 90 days, until July 2025, but the threat remains very real for Japanese businesses trying to sell their products in America, creating significant unease. These American tariffs are especially painful for some of Japan's biggest industries. Car manufacturers are facing immense pressure. Automobiles and their parts make up over a third of everything Japan sells to the United States, a truly substantial portion of their trade. A 25% tariff on these goods means Japanese cars become much more expensive for American buyers, potentially leading to lower sales. Steel and aluminum producers are also hit hard with the 50% tariff, a massive increase. This makes it incredibly difficult for them to compete effectively in the American market. Many Japanese companies rely heavily on access to US consumers. These new taxes put their profits and their workers' jobs at risk, creating a wave of deep concern across the nation's industrial heartland. The overall economic impact on Japan could be quite severe and widespread. The United States is Japan's second-largest customer for its exports, right after China, if you correctly include Hong Kong in China's figures. About 20% of all goods Japan sells abroad go to America, illustrating the depth of this trade relationship. Because of these new US tariffs, Japan's top 1,000 companies are now expecting their total profits to fall by about 7%. This projected decline would occur between April 2025 and March 2026. This is a worrying change for the Japanese economy, especially since these companies had seen their profits grow steadily and consistently since the year 2020, marking a period of recovery and strength. The tariffs disrupt this positive trend. Adding to the difficulty is a great deal of uncertainty surrounding these trade measures. The situation changes rapidly, making it incredibly hard for businesses to plan effectively for the future. For example, some of these tariffs, particularly the reciprocal tariffs that were announced back in April, are currently in a state of legal limbo within the U.S. judicial system. A U.S. federal court recently ruled in late May or perhaps early June of 2025 that the president might have overstepped his authority in imposing them without sufficient congressional oversight. While this offers a sliver of potential hope, the final outcome remains unknown and highly contested. This ongoing legal battle creates an unstable environment for international trade. The current trade tensions with the United States send a clear and urgent message to Japan. It is no longer wise to depend so heavily on a single trading partner, even one as historically important as America. The new tariffs make it significantly more expensive and logistically difficult to sell Japanese goods in the US market. This directly threatens the stability of many Japanese businesses and, by extension, the wider national economy. Therefore, Japan must urgently look for new markets and cultivate new economic friendships around the globe. Diversifying its trade relationships is not just a prudent option anymore. It has become a critical necessity for Japan's economic survival and its future prosperity in a rapidly changing global landscape. Japan is already taking concrete steps to find these new opportunities and partnerships. The Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, commonly known as MITI, is working diligently on this important task. So too is the Japan External Trade Organization, or JETRO, which plays a key role in promoting Japanese business abroad. Their shared strategic goal is to significantly increase trade with countries far beyond American shores. They are looking towards the dynamic economies of Asia, focusing on nations like India, which has a large and rapidly growing consumer market. They are also actively exploring more trade possibilities with countries across Africa, a continent with vast untapped economic potential and youthful populations. Latin America presents another promising region. To make these new trade relationships strong, stable, and lasting, Japan is actively pursuing formal trade agreements. These carefully negotiated agreements help by lowering taxes on goods, known as tariffs, and by making the rules of trade clearer and more predictable for businesses. For instance, Japan is being strongly encouraged to negotiate comprehensive trade deals with Mercosur. This is a very significant trading bloc in South America that includes important economies like Brazil and Argentina, as well as Bolivia, Paraguay, and Uruguay. Another key target for a future trade agreement is the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC. This influential group includes wealthy Middle Eastern nations such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Oman. Rebuilding and carefully managing its complex relationship with its neighbor China is also a crucial part of Japan's evolving economic strategy. This relationship is multifaceted and often presents challenges. For example, foreign direct investment from Japanese companies into China has actually been shrinking each year since 2021, indicating some caution from the business sector. However, there are also recent positive signs of diplomatic and economic engagement. At a high-level meeting held in Beijing just recently, in late May or perhaps early June of 2025, an important agreement was reached. China formally agreed to resume importing Japanese seafood products. These imports had been banned back in 2023 due to concerns regarding treated wastewater from the Fukushima nuclear plant. Beyond finding new individual trading partners, Japan clearly understands the immense power and strategic advantage of working closely with groups of countries. One very important existing partnership is the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, widely known as RCEP. This agreement is truly huge in its scope and impact. Its members include the 10 dynamic ASEAN nations, plus major regional economies like Australia, China, Japan itself, New Zealand, and South Korea. Together, these diverse countries represent approximately 30% of the world's total economic output or gross domestic product. They also account for about 30% of the entire global population, making RCEP a formidable economic bloc that fosters regional integration. Japan can, and indeed should, play a leading role in making the RCEP agreement even stronger and more effective for all of its member nations. There are several practical ways to achieve this important goal. One proposed method involves negotiating a clear and ambitious formula for further tariff reductions among RCEP countries. This could mean significantly shortening the agreed-upon timelines for getting rid of tariffs on various goods completely. It could also involve lowering the existing tariff levels even further than originally planned in the initial agreement. Another important step would be to actively work to move more types of products into the category where tariffs are completely eliminated, promoting freer trade within this vast region. Another vital trade pact that Japan has actively championed is the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, often referred to as the CPTPP. Japan played an absolutely key leadership role in successfully reviving this ambitious agreement back in 2018. This revival was necessary after the United States, under the previous Trump administration, decided to withdraw from the original Trans-Pacific Partnership in 2017. The 11 current members of the CPTPP collectively represent about 14% of the world's GDP. More recently, in the year 2024, the United Kingdom officially joined the CPTPP, which was a significant and welcome expansion of the trade pact's reach and influence on the global stage. The global system for managing international trade rules, the World Trade Organization, has unfortunately been weakened in recent years. The Trump administration's actions during its first term, such as systematically blocking appointments to the WTO's critically important appellate body, left essential seats unfilled. This has effectively crippled the WTO's ability to properly resolve trade disagreements between member countries. In response to this serious problem, Japan and other like-minded nations have proactively created alternatives. The Multi-Party Interim Appeal Arbitration Arrangement, or MPIA, now includes 56 members. Among them are major trading entities like Canada, China, Japan, and the European Union, showing a commitment to maintaining a rules-based system for global commerce. The new American tariffs create significant problems that extend beyond just selling finished goods to the US market. They also make it considerably harder for Japan and its allies to effectively reduce their dependence on single countries, most notably China, for a range of essential materials. These include critical minerals that are absolutely necessary for high-tech industries, from smartphones to advanced computing. They also include products vital for the global clean energy transition, such as components for batteries and solar panels. The US actions can disrupt established global supply chains, compelling countries like Japan to urgently find alternative and more secure sources for these vital inputs, ensuring industrial stability. Japan is certainly not starting this crucial diversification effort from scratch. It has already been working to find new sources for important raw materials. For example, Japan has been actively collaborating with reliable partners like Australia and India to secure more stable supplies of rare earth elements. These specific minerals are absolutely vital for manufacturing modern electronics, sophisticated defense systems, and a wide array of green technologies. These existing partnerships demonstrate a proactive and forward-thinking approach by the Japanese government and industry. They provide a solid and valuable foundation upon which Japan can now build. By learning from these initial collaborations, Japan can refine its national strategies for securing other critical resources. To truly secure its complex industrial supply chains for the long term, Japan must significantly broaden these diversification efforts. It needs to actively look for more partners across the entire globe, not just in its immediate region. This means expanding its diligent search for critical minerals and essential energy resources to many other countries and continents. Potential new partners can be found throughout Asia, offering benefits of geographic proximity and rapidly growing industrial capabilities. Canada, with its vast wealth of natural resources, is another key candidate for closer cooperation. Nations in Africa, Europe, and Latin America also hold significant, largely untapped potential for supplying these essential materials to Japan's hungry industries. In conclusion, Japan's path to a strong, stable, and secure economic future clearly lies in embracing a comprehensive strategy of broad international cooperation and diversification. Relying too much on any single partner, even a long-standing and important ally like the United States, carries significant inherent risks, as the recent disruptive trade policies have starkly shown. By actively forging new trade deals, strengthening vital regional partnerships such as RCEP and CPTPP, and working collaboratively with other nations to reform or build new global trade rules, Japan can successfully navigate the current international uncertainties. Furthermore, diversifying its sources for critical minerals and energy will safeguard its industries. Smart, diverse partnerships will ensure Japan's economy remains robust.